see you guys in the dark.
Now imagine the horror of waking up to news that you had accumulated hundreds of $1,000s in debt after someone had used your identity for unauthorized purchases. This is exactly what had happened to me. My name is John. I'm a Connecticut salesman. The guy who was later known as Jerry Phillips, a 23-year-old who had stolen my identity, went on a shopping spree that included purchases to Home Depot, JCPenney, Sears, Lowe's, and even bought 2 cars from Ford, a Kawasaki, and a Harley. In just 4 months, Jerry was able to accumulate over $265,000 in purchases. He was later found and arrested and imprisoned for 3 years. He even went as far as to apologize to me, saying, "I'm sorry. I wish I could make it up to you." I felt that the nightmare was over with, especially with the criminal behind bars, and even verbally acknowledging that his regret over the crime. But despite all of this, and also a letter from the Justice Department confirming that I was a victim, I still somehow find myself owing over $140,000 to different creditors. Waking up in the middle of the night, realizing that federal agents had just entered your home with guns pointed and slapped with handcuffs certainly qualifies as one of the most horrifying ordeals in anyone's life. And this is exactly what has happened to me. My name is Carlos. I'm a UPS driver accused of being involved in a $1 million money laundering operation headed by a Wachovia bank employee. I had spent close to 2 weeks in prison and another 7 months under house arrest before federal prosecutors realized that it happened to be a mistake, with the prospect of losing my job because I was unable to inform my boss at UPS that I couldn't report for work because I had been arrested. I had contemplated the implication of my arrest. I later found out that I was included in the list of 13 co-conspirators. I asked the agents what I was being charged with, and the agents had answered money laundering. I was also presented with Wachovia check that happened to be bearing my name, and replied that this was not my signature. After spending nearly 2 weeks in detention, I was released on a $100,000 bond. I resumed work for UPS, but was only allowed to work during the day, but remained under house arrest during the night. In a country where everybody is presumed innocent, the burden of proving yourself innocent was squarely on my shoulders. I had taken polygraph tests to my lawyer's advice and passed, and then went to a local branch of Wells Fargo, the one who took over Wachovia, and asked the address of the checking account that was used to launder the money. Now see, the big question here is, how does a bank protect your personal information, like social security number and where you live, especially for closed accounts? My name is Bruce. I'm an avid online shopper. I have only dealt with large retailers and secure sites. Nevertheless, I was swept up as part of a massive UK anti-predator police offensive operation. I was arrested on charges of possessing, downloading, and intending to distribute indecent images of children. My home and work computers were confiscated, along with a range of storage devices and media. Later, the investigators had determined that my credit card details had been entered into a computer in Jakarta, Indonesia, and that I was actually using the card at a South London restaurant at almost exactly the same moment. My credit card details had been taken from one of the many popular online shopping sites that I frequented, most likely as a result of a data breach. Although the situation was eventually resolved, that damage had already been done, being arrested and accused of what is probably one of the worst crimes known to man, losing my job because of it, having my reputation run through the mud. It's definitely a living nightmare. Back in 2008, my sister was pregnant with my nephew. She was driving unlicensed, unregistered, and uninsured, and got pulled over. She had a warrant out for traffic tickets a year prior. When the cop had asked her for the information, she gave my name, my birthday, and my address. I had never, ever been in trouble with the law, so she thought giving them my name would be cool. She got her 3 tickets in my name, and then went home. 4 years later, I was with a friend, and he got pulled over. My name was run, and the tickets had came up. But now they were warrants for my arrest. 6 of them. 3 for the original tickets, and 3 for failure to appear in court. I asked my family about it, but no one knew anything. 7 years later, my sister tells me she did it, so that she wouldn't go to jail. My whole family had known. They didn't tell me because they didn't want to upset my sister. So my husband made a few calls for me. And since it had been so long after the fact, the warrants and tickets were taken off my record. I'm free and clear now, but I'm still horrified I will go to jail if I'm ever pulled over again. My sister has since apologized, but I'm still pretty salty about it. My name is Linda. I went to work for Barry in July of 1997. As part of the requirements for the job, I was asked for my social security number, date of birth, and a copy of my driver's license. 1 week after I had started working, Barry had gotten a cell phone using my personal information. Barry went on to apply for credit cards in my name. Barry had used these credit cards and the cell phone for 5 months before I was even aware of it. I found out when I received a final notice before collections in November of 1997. Due to my work with the local police department and district attorney, Barry was prosecuted for identity theft. I still had to contact the credit bureaus to put a lock on my credit status for many years.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos and become a stalker of the night. And I'll see you next time.